and welcome to Inner Circle Guidance. Today we're going to be doing a collective reading, but for those of you who are new to the circle, hello and welcome. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I post new videos every single day. And if you're looking for daily short tarot readings, I post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts. If you're looking for personal services or personal readings, I offer them through my website, innercircleguidance.com. Let's find out what you need to know today. What does the circle need to know today? All right. We have the Three of Pentacles. We have the Empress. We have Justice. Nine of Wands, Five of Wands, and this card's sticking out, so I'm going to take it. Oof. Yikes, we have the Tower. And the Devil on the bottom of the deck here. We have some addictions going on here, is what I'm hearing. And it's not an addiction that you're thinking of. All right, so what I'm seeing here, trying to decide where to even begin with this. All right. This is what I'm kind of seeing. I'm seeing that there's been a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos, a lot of maybe arguments, fighting, boundaries being disrespected, negativity when it comes to relationships. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean romantic relationships, although that may resonate with you. This could have to do also with teamwork, could have to do with family, could have to do with friendships. And what I'm seeing here with the Empress is that the Empress is a very nurturing energy. The Empress can also mean pregnancy. Now, this can also mean pregnancy in the sense of not a literal child pregnancy, but the pregnancy of an idea or giving birth to new creativity. And I'm seeing that that is more than likely the case here. It's more than likely that there's some sort of idea that's being birthed here that's causing major changes in your life. For others of you, I can see that you could actually be pregnant, and that is the inciting incident of what is changing things for you with this Tower. But regardless of whether it's that you're becoming a parent or that you have birthed this new idea, you're realizing that you want more justice, more balance, more equality in your life and in your relationships. And I'm seeing here that you're very close to this breakthrough of being able to birth this new idea and have these new changes coming in. But there's still something holding you back, and it actually is an addiction. Now, remember I had said earlier, this is not the typical addiction that you're thinking of. What I mean is, when we are in various relationships with other people, whether it's friendships, family, our career even, romantic relationships, oftentimes we end up getting addicted to certain situations in relationships. So oftentimes we go to our friends, we go to our family, we go to our partner whenever we're feeling down. We want them to make us feel better. Whenever we need comforted, We go for support. Whenever we're angry, we want them to let us vent or to make us laugh. And that is part of a healthy relationship. But if you're finding that you are in unhealthy relationships, unbalanced friendships, unbalanced romantic relationships, unbalanced career relationships, it's often because there is some sort of addiction there to the validation that you're getting externally from these people that you're not giving yourself. I'm going to let that sink in and marinate for a second here. Now I'm going to throw something else at you. The other thing that happens oftentimes when we are in negative relationships, and this is not just romantic relationships, this can happen in family or friendships or career relationships as well, is when we are in an imbalanced relationship, or if we come from traumas where our idea of relationships and what is healthy and expected is skewed, you can become addicted to having very high highs and very low lows in your relationships. Now, typically, the relationships where this is the most apparent is in your romantic relationships, because you tend to spend the most time with your partner. And so oftentimes that's why a lot of our issues in terms of relationships tend to appear in our romantic ones. But what's funny about that is oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes some of these issues are actually stemming from other problems that we have in other types of relationships. Now, we do have the Empress on the table. I did mention that that's a nurturing energy and that it could have to do with pregnancy. But the thing that I didn't mention is it could also be a mother figure. So you may come to find that some of these validations you seek from other people through relationships that you are addicted to may stem from issues specifically regarding the way you view your relationship with your mother. Could also have to do with the way that you view mother figures and the expectations of parents. So I'm going to get a couple more cards here. I'm not going to take too many more because this was a lot to throw at you, and I feel like this is already a reading that you're going to have to kind of journal on and think about. But I will take a couple more cards. I just heard your relationship with your mother is very important. Now, regardless of what type of relationship you have, whether it's a positive or a negative one, the influence of your mother can very much affect your life, or even the absence of your mother can very much affect your life. And so it is important to look at your relationships with your parental figures, as they are often responsible for a lot of the preconceived notions that we have as children. Because as children, we're a lot more observant and we understand a lot more than adults often give us credit for. And so that being said, it may not be an intentional thing that your parents did or said, but something that you observed about them that may be creating some of these illusions or some of these issues when it comes to relationships. And the universe is bringing these things up mainly because a lot of you are supposed to be finding love this year. If you go back to my readings towards the beginning of this year, end of last year, I talked about how a lot of people are going to be finding soulmates. Well, in order to find your soulmate and find that person who complements you, you have to be prepared and ready for that person. And part of that is being extremely self-aware. And oftentimes self-awareness, is found in solitude. And I think it's important to say too, that oftentimes there's a preconceived notion when it comes to love. There's phrases that are thrown out a lot, it's just very popular sayings like, when you find the person you love, you're looking for that person who completes you. Or to say that you're looking for your better half. Those two phrases in terms of love actually set you up for failure, because it immediately insinuates that you're not enough by yourself, or that you're not good enough by yourself, or that you can't be happy by yourself. And actually, those things are the key to having positive and healthy romantic relationships, is being very self-aware and being able to not be codependent on your partner. All right, so we have the 10 of Wands. We have, 10. Look at that. We have 10 of Cups. We have the Death card. We have Strength. And the Page of Pentacles. Bottom of the deck is Temperance. So patience is another thing that's very important when it comes to relationships. Balance is another thing that's very important when it comes to relationships, and healing. And that is the embodiment of what temperance and the card of Temperance means. Now, what we have here, I'm seeing, well, first off, 10-10 has to do with closing of cycles and the start of new chapters. And we literally see that reflected in the 2-10 opposites here, the burdens being carried and then fulfillment. So I am seeing that you are stepping into this new chapter where you are going to have happier relationships. You are going to feel more fulfilled, specifically in your relationships, because the 10 of Cups mostly usually has to do with relationships. Not always. Sometimes it is a general card of abundance, but ultimately, which that can still be the case here as well. I should say that. But I will say, since we are talking specifically about relationships in this reading, I am seeing that happiness in relationships, all relationships, work, friends, family, romantic, etc. Maybe you already have children. We have children here in this card, so maybe building a better relationship with your children. But that is going to be a major focus. And I'm seeing here that you are making the changes and you are putting in the affirmations or the work or the mindset and things to attract this energy. You are stepping out of this burden. Thatcher's munching and crunching on food. We are stepping away from burdens. We are moving into a healthier, happier energy here. But it is going to require strength on your part. It's going to require transformation and you stepping away from these energies of the devil that are no longer serving you. And some of this may be very difficult because some of these things you may be looking in the wrong location as to where they're coming from. And I use this example a lot because I'm somebody who has personally gone through very heavy traumas in my life. And for the longest time, I thought those traumas were responsible for certain issues I was having in relationships. And I came to find that, ironically, some of my issues actually came from my mother in the relationship that I had with her. Because of the way I viewed certain things about my relationship with her, and she was the one who was always around me. And she was the one who was consistent in my life. So that being said, you may come to find that some of these things, especially when it comes to relationships, we have a tendency to look at, if we're women, we have a tendency to look at our fathers or our exes. And if we're men, we have a tendency to look at our relationship with our mother. But sometimes you'll come to find that it's actually the other parent. Or I guess I should say whoever plays the role of the more motherly or fatherly figure, because there are obviously relationships where there are two women or two men, or non-binary. But anyways, that being said, whichever the case is for you, take a look at your parents and the different roles they played in the way that you view relationships, because there may be some things that need to transform. And when that happens, you're going to understand exactly what steps you need to start with in order to start preventing these cycles from repeating and to break these addictions. So this is your reading. If it resonated with you, don't forget to like this video. I'm trying to think of what your affirmation should be. I don't know why he's munching and crunching his food. It's not even breakfast. He usually does this during breakfast. That food's been sitting there for like 3 hours. Your affirmation, let me think here. I am becoming aware of and breaking addictions I have in relationships. There you go. That's your affirmation. So thank you for stepping into my circle. And as always, may your life be full of light, full of love, abundance, and gratitude. I'll see you next time.